So you want to know if you can drink alcohol on the carnivore diet? Well, I have an opinion based on my experience, and I'm going to share it with you today in this video. Based on this cool little app, I now know that I'm about to hit 148 days on the carnivore diet. And in that 148 days, I've only drank one time. Now, before I started the carnivore diet, I drank pretty regularly. I mean, I wasn't drinking all the time, but I would have a drink or two or three, a few times a week. Occasionally, like once every few months, I would have quite a bit to drink, have a good time, let loose. But that changed when I started the carnivore diet. Now, the carnivore diet is one of the diets that's it's like a zero carb diet or an all meat diet or however you want to call it. One of the things that ends up happening is your carbs go to pretty much zero. Now, I'm not a dietitian or a doctor or a scientist, but I don't really think you have to be one to know alcohol has carbs. Now, I was a police officer in the military, and part of what I had to learn about was how alcohol affects the body. Not necessarily in a long-term medical stance, but more so in the near term. One thing that I did learn is that alcohol is prioritized in your digestive system. A lot of people talk about like, hey, if you just eat some stuff, it'll slow down the digestion process of the alcohol and just kind of keep you from getting so drunk so fast or wear down the alcohol effects. But that's not true. Your body prioritizes the processing of the alcohol. I imagine your body will do it in the fastest, most safest way that it can, and sometimes resulting in you throwing up. And because I'm not all that versed on science and dietary rules of the body and things like that, if you are, or if you have any feedback on how the body processes the alcohol, while I know it prioritizes processing the alcohol, I'm not really sure if that's a benefit or a downside. So if you have some feedback, I'd really be interested in hearing that in the comments. My goal doing the carnivore diet hasn't specifically to be in ketosis. I know that it's a result of being low carb, and depending on how much fat I eat, I'll end up being in ketosis, but either way, I'm losing weight and maintaining a good healthy weight. But if your goal is to be in ketosis, the alcohol is going to throw you out. And outside of that science stuff, which I'm very not versed in, there is also the effect on your mind. One of the things we were always taught as a police officer is that the first thing that alcohol impairs is your judgment. I talk a lot about me eating just a few carbs or a few things that are not on the carnivore diet and how it makes me afraid that I might go into this binging mode where I just start eating things I shouldn't and just one thing after another and I just won't stop. I've done it in the past outside of the carnivore diet, and I've had a day here or there that I got a little out of control. But I was not under the influence of alcohol in those times. When alcohol impairs your judgment, you are going to be more likely to make some decisions dietarily and in other ways that just don't align with what you would think you would want to do when you're sober. So I would be extra cautious whenever you're deciding to have some drinks because your judgment will be affected. Another point to make, I hear Dr. Anthony Chaffee talk about this pretty often whenever he's talking about alcohol, is that alcohol is just poison. Now, Dr. Anthony Chaffee is pretty strict on his carnivore diet. He doesn't allow coffee or fruit or anything like that. So he does have a pretty strong opinion about alcohol too. And that is that it's poison and you shouldn't ingest it at all. Now, with all that being said, I did say that I had a few drinks one time during this whole 148 days. So this whole video, I've been saying all the negative things about alcohol. And I don't really think I have anything positive to say about alcohol, but I do have one positive thing to say about making your own decisions. This is life, and you only get one of them. And so there has to be some times where you make a choice to have some balance in your life. For a good while, I watched this YouTube channel called Mind Pump. It's quite a few guys just talking about diet and exercise, and they talk about the topic of alcohol on their podcast videos. And it really resonates with me what they talk about is that if your whole life is focused around just trying to have the most optimized diet at all times, you may end up neglecting your spiritual, social, and mental health. And if you can keep things under control, the occasional treat isn't going to hurt you that bad in the long run. And if you drink 3 or 4 times a year, how much of your life is it really going to take away from you? Now, again, I'm not a medical expert. This is just my personal opinion, and I'm just a regular guy. But my caution to myself and to my kids, or anybody watching this video, is don't do what you don't think you can handle. I'd be extra cautious. If you don't think you can have just a couple of drinks and let it be that for a long period of time before you drink again, if you think having a drink or having a piece of fruit is going to make you just get right back into the habit, you got to cut it out until you get to a point in your life where you think you can do it and you actually do. The reason you're doing such a strict diet like the carnivore diet is probably because you have some problems. Whether it's some medical problem that the carnivore diet has solved for you, or for me, it's a bad eating habits and an addiction. Either way, you run the risk of either having bad physical ailments come back or the potential of getting back off the bandwagon. I didn't have this video script, but as I go through everything I'm saying, I can hear myself on both sides arguing for drinking alcohol and arguing against drinking alcohol. And really, honestly, I just want to give you permission to do whatever you think you can handle and whatever you think is right. The diet that you're on isn't defined by me or Dr. Chafee or Dr. Sean Baker or anybody else out there that's a professional or a YouTuber. It's your life. You have to find ways to be happy, and you have to find ways to be healthy. If right now you're asking the question to yourself, can I drink alcohol? And yet after hearing all the negative things about drinking alcohol, you still want to drink alcohol, go for it. Just be super cautious, because the reasons that you were driven to the carnivore diet in the first place may come right back. With that said, I think if you like this video, you might like this other video that I made where I talk about my go-to meal in the carnivore diet when I'm on a budget. If you'd like to check that video out, you can find it right here. And a real quick bonus, if you want a free ebook on getting started on the carnivore diet, you can find a link in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Take care till then.